I recommend just pausing just to read the following. But to sum it up, it basically means don't be an idiot unless you're a fan of natural selection.
Welcome, I'm Joshua de Lisle, the designer maker. I asked VEVOR the other day if they would like to send me one of their electronic hoists to review. For transparency, I'm not being paid for this, and nor is there any affiliation at this point. I've just got a lot of heavy lifting, and so I asked if they'd like to support the channel by letting me have one to review. Let's see what's in the box. Got some M12 bolts, some fairly roughly bent brackets. Put this on its side. Let's drag it out. Is that it? Alright, let's see if this actually works before I set it up. On. Ooh. Good, the safety switch works. Okay, so straight out the package, looks promising so far. Very, very short cable, but then again, you'd probably want to wire this in directly. Or if you did want to keep this portable and have it as like a mobile jib, then having a short lead like this is actually probably ideal. So let's have a look at these specifications. So in case you're looking on your phone and you can't really see this, it is a 2000 watt input power, 240 volt with the British 50 hertz. Now loading capacity is 600/1200 kilograms. So I'll show you why it's split into two sections there in just a moment. Work rate 20% 10 minute. That's probably some sort of indication of duty cycle. What 20% of what in 10 minutes? I'm not too sure. There wasn't a handbook with this, so I'll have to have a look at that. Lifting speed, 10 meters per minute if you're on single rope, 5 meters per minute if you've doubled up. So 1200 kilos, that is an awful lot of weight. Let's have a close look at what that weight is actually held up on. So the hook itself looks like a typical galvanized drop forged piece of steel. And what I'm checking for is potential sharp corners, crack, or areas that it could fail at some point. So it is a fairly sharp edge in the middle here. I don't know if you can see that. That hasn't been rounded off. The actual crimping of the line here. So this is crimped in two places here and just under there, if you can see. Now the cabling itself is, it says 5.65 on my calipers. If we call that a 6mm cable, or 5.5, it's probably closer to actually. I can set that to inches. Let's have a look at inches. 0.226 inches. On a single rope, this is 600 kilograms of lifting. What you would then do is add this hook by attaching this to there, like so. This hook you need to take apart, take these split rings off, and then that gives you your 1200 kilograms. You're doubling up. So you're halving the speed, but doubling the weight capacity. And the steel that all of this is mounted off is, it says 3.3 millimeters. So I would say that was 3mm steel plus the powder coating. So the way this proximity switch works is there's a little tiny button there, and it's just simply hinged and pushes that button. So you can see it's come off. There's a little button there, just in there. So if we go down again, there we go, it's turned it off automatically. Let's have a little look at the wiring in there, because that's probably one of the most dangerous points, I think. Everything else looks very robust. The casting looks in really good condition, actually. There's nothing I can see on the outside that's of anything to worry about. I don't think I'm going to open up the casting in this one. I think that's unnecessary, and I don't want to break any seal that's in here. You know, do check my videos. If at a future update this fails, I'll make a big song and a dance about it. So until then, we'll take it at face value that what's in there is pretty good. But we can easily open up this bit, which is probably the bit that's going to break the most easiest of this whole thing. So make sure you're unplugged if ever you try these things. Doo-dee-doo-dee-doo. So I do not recommend doing this yourself. These can hold charge, so even though it's unplugged, I could still get a very nasty zap from that. Alright, so what this is a capacitor. It says, I think 60 farad plus or minus 5%, 450 VAC, 50/60 hertz, and up here CBB 60. Now, I don't know a huge amount about electronics, but I would assume that this is part of the motor, which is an induction motor. So protect yourselves. Never mind me, I'm going to have a little deep further look. Okay, so the switch here is actually a standard off-the-shelf switch with 2 spade connectors. That's really good. That's something I can easily buy off Amazon if necessary. And that's 240 volt rated switch. It's 16 amps, so that's good, it's not going to fail. The rest of the connections, if you see the connections to the motor there, but they've actually got ferrule connections, so they're nice and secure, done properly, which is good to see. So yeah, that switch is something that I think will get the most abuse and will be most prone to fail. So I'm really glad it's something that I can get access to easily. Yeah, very, very happy about that. So the only thing I am thinking is that this is able to move around quite a lot in there. Now it's not necessarily a problem, but I'm thinking of using this also as a pulley and stuff on my truck, and that will get bounced around quite a bit. So I'm actually thinking I might just put just a tiny bit of foam in here just to save any impact happening to that capacitor. Alright, so what I've done is I've actually got some of the polystyrene that it came with and just shoving a bit in between it. And that'll keep it nice and secure, it's not going to rattle around, and hopefully make it last that little bit longer. So if you're an electrician and you think that wasn't a good idea, let me know in the comments, because if you think that it's insulated it and it'll get too hot or something, then I'll certainly take it back out. And so if you're thinking of doing the same, check the comments and see what other people have said, because I am not an electrician. So just play ear to caution and just double check. So I think I'm also going to check this switch out, see what's in here. Yeah, so to reverse the polarity of the windings, or to change the windings in the motor to go the other way, we've got a bit more of a complex switch here. But again, you can buy controllers like this straight off Amazon. So it's not something that should ruin the whole machine. You can still replace this unit. A 1, 2, 3 and 4. One of those would probably be a ground. One of those is a neutral. I'd have to check a wiring diagram for that though. And then the 2 are different lives for different windings for going up and down. So that's what you can expect. As far as the plastic goes though, that does feel very robust and solid, which it needs to be. If you're lifting big things, this is the thing that's going to get trapped somewhere and broke. Now, believe it or not, VEVOR do a wireless version of this, as in it's got a fob like a remote. They didn't actually have any in stock, which is the main reason why I didn't get that version. But not only that, I kind of think fobs are another thing that can get lost or broken, and so having a wired-in one I think is actually preferable. So there are actually 3 things that I want to use this for. First is a jib, which is like a crane that I can use to lift really heavy pieces of equipment around this workshop. The second is to make an attachment for my truck so I can use it as a winch. And you're probably thinking, well, how am I going to power it? It's 240 volt. Well, I actually have a 2000 watt power bank to use this with, so we'll be all right. That's going to be another interesting video, because I'm going to make a steam engine to charge it up with. It's one of those, solar charged ones. It's really cool. And lastly, I want to make like a little trolley for this, and the idea is to wheel it into a little woodland patch, strap it to a nearby tree and use it to pull some of the larger logs that we've been logging. Right, so if you guys want to see those projects, then do hit the subscribe and that bell icon, and that way you'll get notified. What I've done here though is I've rigged up the hoist in my friend's workshop so we can do some heavy lifting operations and actually see how practical is this in a workshop. And for reference, what you're seeing is 60mm box section. That's what those brackets are designed for, so that's what I've gone with. And I've just got some carver clamps holding it on the fork truck here, which I'm licensed to use, by the way. All right, let's see what it's like lifting this up. Steady as she goes. Right, so that there, I believe, is a very good start. I mean, this is no light piece of equipment. This is the kind of thing that you would use this day in, day out for. So how responsive is the remote if I want to place it down lightly? Could be slower. It'd be nice if there was 2 speeds, but get what you pay for. It's only 125 quid this. Right, it would have been good if we could pick up that fly press. That's probably the heaviest thing that I can see around here. Unfortunately, I can't actually get to it, and I don't want to move all their stuff around too much. Let's just test doubling it up on the press again. We'll call it a wrap. Okay, so to attach this hook on, you basically got to take out one of the cotter pins, the split pins, open up just that top part and slip it on like that. Put that side over, washer on, put the pin back through, and then this very simply gets hooked on there like that. There we go. Holding a bit of tension on. Hooks on there, careful of your fingers. Take the slack, steady the piece, slowly go up. So you're getting a lot more control out of that actually. Because you're now halving the speed, you can do it a lot more safer. So interestingly, I'm watching to see how it's going to auto shut off, and I don't think that will, because it's got no way of pushing on that little lever there. Something to be aware of if you're doing it this way. You might break things if I was to go any further than that. Let's go back down again. That's brilliant. If that was on a properly made jib, that'd be excellent. Now, I don't think it actually says how long this is, so this will be interesting to find out. And also, I'll be able to put that cable a bit neater. The neater you store that cable, the better. Having a remote would have been quite handy, actually. Still, I wonder if that's something we can actually add later. Like, it's just a switch. You can get radio frequency switches. Another modification to do in the future. Right, so I've actually left 2 windings on. I think that's realistic, because if I take any more off, it actually compromises the strength of the connection here. So let's just pull this out and I'll measure it. Oh, so I just measured it, and that's approximately 12 meters of length. That's not bad at all. Or for my American friends, 39 feet. Right, now then, to make sure this winds on without it going all over the place, you've got to keep a bit of tension and then watch it go across. Mind your fingers. There we are. Before you leave, let's talk a little bit about safety. So before buying this, you want to check with LOLA, which stands for Lifting Operations and Lifting Equipment Regulations. That's what we have here in the UK. And I believe you can get a representative to come out and actually test and weight test the equipment for you, and then they get signed off and ticketed. That means it's been tested to the point where your staff can use it safely. You want to do the best to protect yourself if you can. Also, lifting operations shouldn't really be conducted on your own. In fact, I do fully recommend going on a course so you understand anchor points and weight balance to make sure your lifting operations are as safe as possible. I've actually got a ticket for using an overhead crane and everything like that. And that was just like a day's course, going through all the lifting, what not to do, what to do, how to stop things swinging about, all that kind of thing. So although these machines are cheap to buy, they're incredibly dangerous in the wrong hands. So I can't stress it enough to make sure you know what you're doing before purchasing. But you know, if you're experienced, such as I am, excellent bargain, I think. Now, if you enjoyed that review, why not check out this video here to see what other reviews I do. And until next time, get out there and forge for yourselves a life worth living. Bye-bye.